Hello students, it's Nazia Begum here, your physics lecturer, welcoming you all in today's lecture. So today we are going to start our new chapter, which is sources of energy. So what is a source? A source is something which gives us or supply us some materials which we utilize to fulfill our needs. Okay? So sources of energy means from here we will get some materials which provide us energy. A source of energy is one which can provide adequate amount of energy in a convenient form over a long period of time. There are basically two types of sources of energy on the basis of availability of materials. First one is non-renewable sources of energy. As the name suggests, these are the sources of energy which cannot be renewed once they are used up. So that means these sources are limited in nature. Let's see what is the definition here. Those sources of energy which have accumulated in nature over a very long time and cannot be quickly replaced when exhausted are called non-renewable sources of energy. For example, coal. So here in figure 1 you can see the picture of coal. Coal is one of the most important sources of energy. Burning of coal produces heat energy, and this heat energy can be used as such for cooking or heating purposes, or it also can be converted into other form of energy. For example, electric energy. Okay, it can be converted into electricity as well. So basically we can say that non-renewable sources of energy are those sources which can be exhausted. Why they can exhaust it? Because they take a very long time to get produced, and once they are used up, because the time for their production is very long, so they cannot produce quickly in nature, and that's why their amount continuously reduces and after some time they get extincted. Okay, so like coal and petroleum, these are the sources of energy which can be extinguished or exhausted when we use them continuously. Okay, and one more important thing is there that non-renewable sources of energy are generally dug out from the earth, and because we are using them conventionally from over a very long period of time, so they are also called conventional sources of energy. They are exhaustible sources of energy. Then we have second type of sources of energy which are called renewable sources of energy. So as the name only suggests, these are the sources which can renew themselves. That means once we use them, they can be renewed or produced again naturally. Okay, so those sources of energy which are being produced continuously in nature and are inexhaustible. Inexhaustible means they will not get exhausted or end by continue using, as they continue renew themselves in nature. They will not get extinct from nature, and they are called renewable sources of energy. For example, wood is a renewable source of energy. Why? Because wood is obtained from trees. Okay, and after planting the tree we can continuously get the wood. So if we grow more trees we can get more wood. So wood is a kind of renewable source of energy. Then there is sunlight. However amount of sunlight we use, it will never get exhausted. It will never get finished. We can get continuously we can get the sunlight from sun. So that is also a kind of renewable source of energy. And then some energy is also generated from water. Okay, you have heard about hydroelectricity, hydroenergy, energy from sea, geothermal energy, and biomass energy, etc. These all energies are renewable sources of energy. Okay, hydroenergy is obtained from water, and after obtaining this energy the water is free. It is not like once we convert hydro energy into electric energy it will get finished. No, it is not the case. Okay, in next topics we will understand that how hydro energy is renewable. Renewable sources of energy are also called non-conventional sources of energy, and because they can be used again and again and they will never get exhausted, that's why they are also called inexhaustible sources of energy. One more name is there, they can also be called as alternative sources of energy. Okay, so here we have understood that there are two types of sources of energy: non-renewable, that is the sources which can be finished or exhausted if we continuously use them, and second is renewable sources of energy which will never get exhausted as the nature itself continuously supply them. Okay, and as their supply continues, so after continuously using them they will not get exhausted, they will renew themselves. Okay, but it doesn't mean that because they are renewable so we can use them abruptly. No, it is not the case. Whether it is non-renewable source of energy or the renewable source of energy, their use should be limited. Okay, they should be utilized only for purposeful activities. We have discussed two types of sources of energy. Now let us see what is a good source of energy. Okay, so whenever we have to do some work, energy is needed. So for our day-to-day activity, whatever work we are doing, we need energy. That energy is supplied from source. So what is a good source? What can be source we should use? So here you can see some characteristics or qualities of good source is there. The first one is a source which would do a large amount of work per unit mass. That means what is a good source of energy? That source where from very low volume, low mass, we can get more amount of work. Then second point, which is cheap and easily available. Third, which is easy to store and transport. Fourth point, which is safe to handle and use. And fifth point, which does not cause environmental pollution. If any source of energy fulfill all these five qualities, so it can be considered as a good source of energy. Then let's come to new topic, which is fuels. What are fuels? Fuels are the material which provide us energy, and a very typical and conventional definition can be there as the materials which are burnt to produce heat energy are known as fuels. For example, wood, coal, cooking gas, that is LPG, kerosene, diesel and petrol. All these materials burn up and give us energy, so they can be considered as fuel. Okay? In our day-to-day life, whatever energy we are consuming, either directly or indirectly, they are coming from these fuel only. If we have to eat something, that means if we have to give energy to our body, that is muscular energy, for that we have to eat food, and to eat food we have to first cook the food, and for cooking food we need LPG or kerosene or wood or coal. Okay, so basically these are the sources which gives us heat energy, and by that heat energy we can generate another form of energies. Okay, now when we are talking about fuels, we should know some definitions related to fuels. So the first term is ignition temperature. Here you can see this term, ignition temperature. Okay, now what is the ignition temperature? Students, if you have to burn a paper, you have to give that paper a particular amount of heat. Before that heat, the paper will not burn. To make it more easy, we can understand it as, if you have to burn the LPG gas, you can use a lighter. Okay, you on the knob of the gas, put the lighter there, and when the lighter will spark, the LPG gas starts burning. Can you burn the paper with the same lighter? No, you cannot. To burn the paper, a small spark from lighter is not sufficient. You have to use matchstick for that. You need flame to burn that paper. Okay? Now, in place of paper, suppose we have a wooden block. If you have to burn that block, can you simply burn it with the help of a small matchstick? No. To burn the wooden block, you need a little bit more amount of energy. Either you burn it with more flame, or you can put some kerosene oil. You can spread some kerosene oil over the wooden block, and then that matchbox will work and the wooden block will start burning. So in all these three cases, one thing have you observed, that for LPG, only the small or little spark from the lighter is enough to make it burn. For paper, it was not enough. For paper, we need flame. Okay. But in case of wooden block, we need a little more energy to start burning. Okay. So here we can say that to start the burning of a fuel, different amount of starting energy is required. For LPG it is very less, for paper it is a little more, for wooden block it is more than the paper also. Okay, so the amount of energy we need for starting burning process of any fuel is called ignition temperature of a fuel. Here you can see proper definition of ignition temperature. The minimum temperature to which a fuel must be heated so that it may catch fire and start burning is known as its ignition temperature. Okay, so ignition temperature is that minimum temperature which we have to supply to a fuel for the starting of its burning process. If we don't apply that much minimum temperature, okay, the fuel will not burn, and this value of ignition temperature is different for different fuels. Then second and very important term related to fuel is calorific value. So its definition is very simple: the amount of heat produced by burning a unit mass of the fuel completely is known as its calorific value. Or we can have a more specific definition as the amount of heat produced by burning 1 gram of fuel completely is called its calorific value. Okay, but commercially when we use the fuel, so its unit is given in kilojoule per gram. Kilojoule per gram, because we measure the amount of energy in kilojoule and the amount of fuel in gram. Okay, so we can say that calorific value of a fuel represents the heat value of the fuel. Now you can look at this table here. At left hand side fuel is written and right hand side calorific value. According to the fuel, what are the values of heat produced by the fuel is written there. So you can see by dung cakes, that means uple, 6 to 8 kilojoule per gram. That means if you burn 1 gram of dung cake or upla, you will get 6 to 8 kilojoule calorie of heat. Then if you burn wood, you can get 17 kilojoule of heat by burning 1 gram of wood. Similarly, you can see for coal, for charcoal, for alcohol, for diesel, for kerosene, for all it is given there that how much energy, kilojoule of energy we can get to burn 1 gram of that fuel. And here you can see that the maximum amount of calorific value is there of hydrogen. And if you notice that whatever fuels we are using in our kitchen, among them LPG is having the highest amount of calorific value. It's 50 kilojoule per gram. That means by burning 1 gram of LPG gas, we can get 50 kilojoule of heat energy. Okay, and the maximum amount of calorific value is of hydrogen gas, but we cannot use that as regular fuel because to control the energy of hydrogen gas, to control the burning is very difficult. So I hope now you have understood the two most important terms related to fuels. This is it for today's lecture. Good. We'll see you in next lecture. Till then, goodbye, take care, do some productive work and be healthy, be safe.